Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. And the Lord Yahweh appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, being Abraham, that is. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. Now, in this time, the Lord came via the form of angels, here in the form of three men. And as we read on down, you'll start to see that one of those men, as he is referred to as the Lord, right, with all caps, but we know the Most High himself wasn't the one who came down. Okay, so that had to have been Yahushai, okay, more than likely. And you'll see as we go through this chapter, the distinction that is made between that one out of the three angels. So in any case, Abraham is here, right, in his tent. And as it says, he sat in the door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, three men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself to the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. And Abraham knew, as once again, as we go through the chapter, that these were angels, okay, in the form of men. And so he basically, he runs onto them, he bows, he basically shows respect, and then requests of them to at least just, stay a little bit, even just to eat. So as it says, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. So he gave him a place to sit, right? And washing the feet, because in the ancient world, you're walking with sandals or slippers, and most of the roads or the paths, depending on, it's not like, you had like, today you have like the roads, how they look today. So you would have dust that as the longer you walk, you have dust on your feet get dirty. And that's why that was a part of what you would be offered when you went into somebody's home after a journey, water to wash your feet. And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts. So eat. And after that, ye shall pass on. So this is the equivalent of saying like, oh, let me just make something, prepare something for you. For therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, so do as thou hast said. So they agreed to just, to tarry and let Abraham make something for them. And Abraham hastened onto the tent, unto Sarah, and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd, and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. So he was basically quick. He said, Sarah, make them cakes. He found a nice, good calf. He asked one of the young men to dress it up, prepare it. And he took butter and milk and the calf, which he had dressed. Now, when you look into the word butter, most of the time it goes into like some form of like curd. And milk, yes, you do have like actual milk, but also sometimes it's referring to like cheese. And the calf, which he had dressed, and set it before them. So he brought a nice little meal for them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Now, what's interesting here is we know that angels don't really eat. But this is actually explained in the book of Tobit, where, let me see if I can just reference it real quick, where Azariah, which was really the angel Raphael, who feigned himself to, maybe 13, to, okay, so Tobit 7. Huh. Am I missing something here? All right, let's see. Azariah. But in any case, he feigned himself, so it made it look like he was actually eating, but he wasn't eating. Apocrypha. Hmm. Okay, that's fine. Tobit. Just wondering why it wasn't showing. There you go. So not chapter 1, but probably maybe somewhere around chapter 12. Okay. Yeah. See that this man have his wages, which went with thee, and thou must give him more. So I think this is after they had come back from their journey. If you're not familiar with it, you can go and read the book of Tobit. But after they had come back from their journey, where the angel in the form of a man escorted Tobias, right? And during their journey, they got to a point where they quote unquote ate. Tobias ate, and in his sight, it looked like the angel was eating. But I think in here, he describes when he reveals to them that he was an angel, that he didn't actually physically eat. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, so he reveals himself here. I am Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. And they were both troubled and fell upon their faces, for they feared. So now after he's revealed himself, there we go. It says here, all these days did I appear unto you, but I did neither eat nor drink, but ye did see a vision. That's crazy. Now therefore give God thanks, for I go up to him that sent me, but write all things which are done in a book. So likewise, the angels don't actually eat and drink. That's of man, but their bodies of a different glory, not that of ours. So in this case, just like Azariah or Raphael did, it was like a vision. They made it look like they were actually eating, but they weren't actually eating. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return. This is the angel speaking onto Abraham. I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Because remember, the tent at this point, it's not like some like soundproof buildings. And no, it's a tent. So she could hear the conversation. And she probably was already eavesdropping anyway. Now, what's spiritual about this is the angel says that the one speaking here says he would return, right, to Abraham at the time of life, meaning around this time next year, right, which would have been over 10 months, where Sarah would have, like, that's the time of life, right? That's enough time to get pregnant and have a baby. And we know right through the spirit that Yahushua came back or came on the earth as the seed of Abraham, i.e. Isaac. Okay, and there are some similitudes that point to that, right? But we believe that through the scriptures and through faith. And so it's interesting here that this angel says that to Abraham, right? That he would come back at the time of life where Sarah shall have a son. It says, and Sarah heard in the tent door that was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women, meaning she was past the age where women usually have children, or where they even can have children. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being also old? So basically, like, she laughed because it just sounded funny that at her old age she was gonna have, a child, with not only her being old but Abraham also being old. And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? So so he's saying, why is Sarah laughing? Like concerning this child that she's gonna have. Is anything too hard for the Lord Yahweh? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. See, I will return unto thee. Which, once again, as we're going to go into this angel speaking here, you'll see that he was more distinct than the other two angels that were with him. And Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not. Now, whether she stuck her head out the door of the tent or she just spoke from within the tent, she tried to, to basically, because she was afraid, but she tried to deny it, right? Oh, no, I wasn't laughing, for she was afraid. And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh. So the angel doubled down and said, no, you laughed. Oh, man. Here it is. She's trying to argue with an angel about something she knew very well that she did. That's interesting. So he knew she was Jake. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? So basically, now that they had eaten and spoke with Abraham, they were ready to go to, because that was the original destination, Sodom, that region over there, to go and see if the sins that are going on there are matching the report that the Lord had received. Because remember, the angels report the things that are going on in the planet, in the earth, also from the cries and the cries of the people, right? For example, what the situation that happened with Cain and Abel, right? When he died, he cried up unto the Lord concerning what was done to him on the earth. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? So the Lord was contemplating here, should I let Abraham know what I'm about to do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. So here the Lord is thinking, right? Because now, he's looking at Abraham as one that he is he is going to bless, right? Very faithful and loyal to him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord Yahweh, right? Because he was a faithful man to the Lord. So the Lord said, I know he's gonna, follow my commandments and my ways and teach it to his children after him, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him. So he's gonna be, faithful in the things that I have instructed him to do, and in return I am gonna bless him. And the Lord said, so the Lord decided to reveal to Abraham what his plan was. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it. So I'm going there to verify if indeed the report, that's the cry of it, that I've received is what I see here, which has come on to me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. Now we know the Lord in all caps, it's Yahweh in Hebrew, but we know that this isn't really the Most High himself standing here, right? So based on what we know throughout the Old Testament, the messenger that the Lord sent, right, the number one messenger that the Lord would send, i.e. he even sent during the time of the Exodus and so on and so forth at different points, was Yahushai, because Yahushai was the actual word, and the word of the Most High embodied. Okay, which is why I said at the beginning of the lesson that this Lord here would have to, more than likely be Yahushai, right, at this time, coming in the angel form to to speak to Abraham here. So it says here, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. So the two other angels, because there were three men, the two others that were with him went toward Sodom, but he stayed behind to continue to converse with Abraham. So he reveals to Abraham that this is what he's going to do. And so as it says, and Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? peradventure, and why is Abraham doing this? Because he's trying to plead for Lot, because Lot was dwelling in that region. So he's saying, like, are you also going to destroy the righteous people that are in there with the wicked? Peradventure, there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? So what happens if there are at least like 50 people that are righteous in there? Are you going to destroy everybody and not spare the righteous in there? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. So surely you're not going to do this, like that would almost be contrary to how the God or the righteous judge of the earth would judge, right? And the righteous, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. So Abraham is kind of saying, like, that's like, you're not actually going to do that, are you? Right? You're not actually going to destroy the righteous in there with the wicked for them to both suffer the same fate. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord Yahweh said, if I find 50 in Sodom, or if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake. So if there are at least 50 people that are righteous in there, then I'm not going to destroy it because of them. And Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. So, I've already, I already started to speak unto you. So while I'm here, and he's basically coming in a humble way to say, like, I know I am but dust and ashes. I'm just of the flesh. I'm of the ground, but allow me peradventure to basically say this, right? So what if, that's peradventure. So what if there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous? So what if there may be 45 people that are righteous there? Wilt thou destroy all the city for the lack of 5? So if there are 45 people or maybe not 50, will you still destroy everybody? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure, there should be 40 there. So what if there's 40? So Abraham is trying to bargain here with the Lord to bring the number down as small as possible, once again, for the sake of his nephew. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. So I'm sorry. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but please don't get mad. Just hear me out. Peradventure, there shall be 30 found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry. He's really pushing the envelope here. And I will speak yet but this once. Okay, last time. Peradventure, what if 10 shall be found there? And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned on to his place. So you can imagine here, Abraham is like, damn, man, like, I really hope that Lot is okay, and that the Lord has mercy on him, because he's there in that region as well. And that brings us to the end of the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.